Hello, my name is Barbara, and I'm going to do the oral test with student one and as a student two. Student one, today I'd like to talk about two people I love a lot. The first one is my mother, Maria, and the second one is my best friend, Nastia. Student two, that sounds nice. What's your relationship like with your mom? Student one, well, Maria is my mother, so we obviously have a very close relationship. She's my biggest supporter throughout my life, even though we have different personalities, and she always knows how to comfort me when I'm upset. Sometimes she can be a bit overprotective, which can annoy me, but I know it's because she loves me so much. That's sweet. How about Nastia? How is she different from your mom? Well, Nastia is my best friend, and we've known each other for years. She's more spontaneous than my mom. For example, she's always encouraged me to try new things, like go to a new restaurant, like very exotic, or maybe taking a trip, even if it's last minute. She's definitely more adventurous than Maria, my mother. But sometimes Nasta can be too impulsive, which can lead sometimes to problems, especially when she makes decisions without thinking through them. That sounds interesting. So, what do you like to do with Nasta? Well, we love going to the movies together or just hanging out at the park. When we were younger, we used to go on long bike rides because we live very close. But now we don't have as much time because we're both busy with work and also with our studies. Obviously, with my mom, I mostly enjoy quiet moments at home, maybe cooking or maybe watching TV shows. It's a completely different vibe as Nasty. Student 2. That sounds fun. What challenge have they faced in their lives? Well, my mom has faced a lot of challenge, especially when my father went away to a different district. It was a tough time for our family, but she remained strong because she had us, me and my sister. So she always tried to stay positive and also has a lot of patience, even in hard situations. As for my best friend Nastia, she had tough time with school when we were younger, but she really worked hard and managed to finish her studies. It wasn't easy, but I think it was so inspiring to see her never give up. Student 2. It seems they both overcome difficult situations. How do they react to change in their lives? Well, my mom is very adaptable to change and she adjusts to new situations quickly. Even if she's unsure at first, she accepts that change is a part of life. Nastia, on the other hand, doesn't deal with change as well. She tends to resist it at first, but once she really realizes it's necessary, she gets used to it. Interesting. Do they have any traits that annoy you? Yes. I think my mom sometimes worries too much, and she's always asked if I'm eating well or if I'm getting enough sleep. And while I appreciate her concern, sometimes it can be overwhelming. Nastia through is always late, so it's a little bit frustrating because it's like I'm being punctual and she's always show up after the time we agreed. So I've learned to accept it between the years, but it still drives me crazy sometimes. Student 2. I understand. It sounds like you love them both despite their little flaws. Absolutely. They're both incredibly important to me. And even though they have their annoying traits, I wouldn't trade them for anything. Student 2. Now let me talk about two people I love. The first is my grandmother, Teresa, and the second is my cousin Daniel. Sounds great. What's your relationship like with your grandmother? Teresa is my grandmother, and we've always had a very close bond. She's very kind and calm, and I love spending time with her. She's always telling me stories from her past, and I find them so fascinating. The only thing that annoys me is that sometimes she's too cautious and doesn't want me to take risks, even when I'm sure it will be fine. Student 1. That sounds like a typical grandmother. What about your cousin Daniel? How is he different from Teresa? Well, Daniel is a bit of a troublemaker. He's much younger than me and always getting into situations that I have to help him out of. He's very energetic and loves to make jokes, which sometimes can get annoying when I'm trying to focus maybe on something. But he's also very loyal and always has my back when I need him. What do you like to do with Daniel? Well, Daniel and I usually hang out at the beach or go to the gym together. We also play video games or Nintendo when we get the chance. And we used to go on hikes together before, but now Daniel is too busy with his studies because he's starting. So we don't do that as often. But with my grandmother, I like to visit her house, maybe cook meals together or just chat for hours. Student 1. I can imagine. Have your grandmother and Daniel faced any challenge in their lives? Well, my grandmother has been through a lot because she had to raise my mother and her own after my grandfather passed away, which wasn't easy. She's always been strong. Daniel also faced a challenge recently when he injured his leg playing soccer, and it was tough for him to stay active for a while. But he recovered now and is back to his usual self. How do they react to change? Well, my grandmother is very calm when change happens. She accepts and adapts quickly, which I really admire. However, Daniel hates change, but over time he learns to deal with it. Student 1. Do they have any traits to annoy you? Student 2. Teresa can be a bit too old-fashioned sometimes, especially when it comes to technology. I think she's always asking me to help her with her phone. As for Daniel, I get annoyed, but how messy he is because he never puts anything back where it belongs, so I'm always cleaning it up after him. It sounds like you love them both, but they definitely have their moments. Exactly, even with their little quirks, they mean the world to me.